Before we begin, can I share a personal excitement?
Would
Just
love
hold
to
on a
hear.
second. Just
L-
hold on a second. And there we go. Yes, just go
Yay.
ahead.
I'm going to Goa. I'm going to Goa.
Yay! Are you like on your way there?
Yes, I'm going to go
Oh,
to the
that's
airport
crazy.
now.
Oh,
So
wow.
for those who don't know, Goa is like the Miami of India.
I think there's no one here who doesn't know.
Yeah. Two of my mamas live there.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a really
wow.
good place to live actually.
Yeah, I designed their houses a while ago. Yeah. Hmm.
Oh,
Cool.
wow.
I'm
Yeah.
super nervous, super excited. I'm going to be alone for 3 days and then I'm going to join my office people. So it's 3 days of solo and then 3 days of office.
Wow, what a dynamic experience,
I'm super
right?
scared.
Uh,
Nice.
Have fun.
so Bhavni, have you had a chance to catch up on some of the live stream from the Practical Work on Self series?
No.
Because this is a little bit different from what we have been doing in the past. This is uh, a more practical book.
Yeah, so the what happened was in the beginning, I think Alka was kind enough to send me that, the information and everything. So I got to reading a bit of that. That was the very first one that I'd missed, and I joined. And after that, I've not even looked into anything. So it's like I'm just joining in midair, basically, So
Perfect time.
I
Perfect time.
again, yeah.
I'm sorry, I'll not be able to contain my excitement today. So I'll turn off my camera.
No, leave it. You look great. So, what's the
Okay.
name of the place that you're going to again?
Um, I'm going to Goa.
Goa. Okay.
Yeah.
David, have you heard about that place?
It's GOA. You can search Goa.
Yeah,
I've heard
I'll
of
put in the
it, but
chat.
I don't know anything about it.
Oh my God, it's tropical. It's the ocean, and it's like a lot of coconut trees and a lot of nature. And it's like a quaint red soil village, and a lot of tourists come there. It has its own culture, it has its own music and different like seafood and stuff like that. Um,
So, so
it,
I think when India was under the rule of Portugal,
Portuguese. Mhm.
they had this Goa as the base for a lot of transportation to and from Portugal, and they're opening all those ports. So it was like one of the first ports. I wouldn't say the first ports, but the
No,
po the ports that the Portuguese people used.
so what I recall is that it dated even way back. I think one of the there is a who's the Christ, one of the followers, David. There's a guy. Was it David? I just it's like at the tip of my tongue. So basically, his grave is over there. So his coffin.
Hmm.
Their graves are all over India.
No, but he is like one of the prime Jesus disciple who came to India preaching. So it's like
Yeah.
even before the Portuguese. So like if you date it back, it'll be like you know around like Christ era. So basically, like it has been on and off from there, but I think it. What I remember from my tour there, that's what they told me. So but it's something like the Portuguese actually enhanced the Christianity more, but it was like prominent back then, so something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So lots of invasions, but it's a very, very uh, mixed culture. Like it's very rooted. The natives are very rooted, but a lot of them were converted to Christianity. So it's a mix. It's a mixed culture, and it's pretty unique. It's pretty unique. There's no place like Goa in India.
Nice.
Well, we are very happy that you're able to make it as you're commuting to this experience.
You
Nice.
Try out Kerala and those places too. They have beautiful beaches. Like, I don't know if you've tried any of the Bangalore kind of places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So yes, I'm gonna go a lot of adventure sports there, like water sports and stuff. So, so it's gonna be even more exciting. Okay, so I'll try to contain my excitement because I see we are eating into the time of the class. But yeah, just be there for me.
We will be, and with you. Yeah, most excellent.
I have to be honest, I forgot the name of the chapter that we are studying. So I'm just going back.
Negative emotions, negative manifestations.
The pond.
And
No,
we're
no, we finished the pond. We were supposed to read chapter 3.
I think
Am I mistaken?
we decided to give one more week to this chapter. I
Okay.
think that was the conclusion at the end of the week. I think we decided that we weren't done with this chapter. And but I might be wrong. Am I wrong in thinking
Okay,
that
no, I might
group?
be wrong. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay. Otherwise, I just panicked. I was like, maybe was I supposed to read chapter 3?
I
No,
had even same impression that we are going over the chapter 3 now.
I must say that uh, it's not a joke. It's a kind of joke that I have the feeling that we are under the spell of an experiment designed by our friend David, because um, we used to, yes, we used, and it's interesting experiment, of course. We used to read in each class, and that took us some time, and we discussed. Now we don't have a script,
Hmm.
and we are lost in some way. But that's an interesting situation, because
Yeah.
uh, it's how do we? It's a stupid way of saying
To me, it's a
how
lot
do
like
we,
navigating through the Bardos, It's a lot like the Bardos situation where you are just trying
yes,
to go
yes,
along and
yes.
just trying to find waypost. Maybe a single waypost is all you need, and then that keeps you going for a few 20-30 minutes, and then you find another waypost, a signpost.
Because we are accustomed to very uncomfortable with silence. So I myself, I don't know if that is the feeling of the group, but I'm saying, well, what shall we talk about? Uh, how do we pass the time? Whatever. But as
yeah.
I understand, it's not the most intelligent attitude. But anyway, I express my sensation if it helps you all. No?
But yeah, I would definitely resonate with that, Birdie, for sure. That's
Mm-hmm.
definitely a change that I've experienced as we moved into practical work on self.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
What did you experience?
So, so before this, we had a structure of reading and then talking about what we just read. So our mind was just fresh with new information, and we were just trying to decipher what's going on. But with this, we are not relying on the text material. We are just improvising. We are just, you know, speaking. So that's the change. So the reading material was almost like a comfort blanket that we could lie upon and then use that to talk about whatever it is that
It
is
it felt safe, right?
right.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Comfortable. It felt comfortable.
Nishant, I would like to hear your view, if you're able to, if you are here.
Yeah, I think it's we are when we are at the shores, we don't want to jump in the waters. So once we are in the waters, we don't want to come out to the shores. So I think we left the shores now, Bernie.
Yeah.
We have to just keep swimming now.
Mhm.
Off to the deep end.
Oh.
One thing, especially during this chapter's exercise, for me, I found it incredibly difficult to, uh, as my machine was producing the negative manifestations from external circumstances, internal circumstances, whatever. I found it very difficult to uh, be uh, aware of the machine at that point. Uh, it felt, but I would say that as I kept on going through the exercise during the later part of the week, I was able to pick up that, hey, my machine is okay. Let me just experience this. I remembered David's thought about this. Isn't this interesting? So I kind of looked at it with a sense of wonder as well. So that was pretty unique.
Yeah.
It's like the mechanicality is really incredible in some ways, and the way it functions so efficiently.
I like that. It's very efficient. It's very effective. You know?
And through the years, it keeps on getting better and better if you train the mechanicality. Like I feel like I'm going through school, so I'm learning a lot. So my mechanicality is changing through it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the layers and layers and layers of, you know, um,
Of our work.
yeah, and also the mechanical, I mean, it's a trained machine, right?
Yes.
The more you train, the more fine it becomes.
Well, we've put a lot of time into our machine training, haven't we?
hmm
Mhm.
But David, I was thinking about the mechanicality, and maybe I thought that the mechanicality of the outside world is also very strong compared to the mechanicality of the machine. There is also the outside world that is influencing you, thereby changing your mechanicality.
Yeah. But
The
it's
outside,
go
I was
ahead.
sorry,
just
Go ahead, Bernie.
they are what you are saying, Nick, the outside world. It strikes me that it's a mental construction.
right.
It's there is no outside world, inside world. It's
Yeah.
only one world. And Trump is the dictator. No, seriously.
Oh, don't say
Yes.
that.
Eh? Yes,
No.
he says so. But um, I react to what you are saying in this way.
hmm
In the last pages of this chapter, if you care to,
Chapter 2.
yes, in this chapter,
Okay.
from the our childhood, we are taught to be conscious of impression we cause on. I'm doing a translation, of course, of manifestation whenever possible in a form that our audience, we can gain their admiration, no? In a way, we are taught to please. And in that way, we can say the external world. But the external world and us is one in a way, you know. So,
Yes.
but in that view, it's as David many times has stressed, the machine has learned to do that, or the personality, whatever, so to survive. So we shouldn't be much ashamed of that, because if we, there is an innate from the very beginning of the little boy or girl.
भैया मेरे को लेट हो जाएगा भैया लेट हो जाएगा
From the little boy or girl to smile, to be, because its life depends on it, you know. And the mother says, "Oh, how much this little girl, this boy loves me. She's always smiling at me." But you know, there have been many experiments that if you put a balloon with two marks of eyes, the little girl will smile, because yes, you know, it's true, no?
Yeah,
It's
yeah. No, you're right.
because it's we are we are the most vulnerable creature in the world when we are young and when we are old. So when I'm reading this, that we are trained to please, no? I am a bit ashamed, but then I think it's the way that things are. And when I read this and I say, no, I must change, I must, it's the same, it's always in the same line. Because if my intention is to change that in myself, that is, you know, the classic therapy, if it is pointing only or mostly to please the other people,
The world.
yes, the world. I don't think it's the point of this teaching. I think that the acknowledgement of that mechanicality, without being very angry with it, or very self punishing, is the point. You just relax and see it. And that brings me, I'm sorry, I'm doing no. That brings me for the last page, when it says, it talks about relaxation. No? How this the need to relax physically, because it appears that the relaxation reduces resistance, and here we are talking about electricity, and maybe Nick knows more about it, or we should call Claude, because I
has something to say too.
Okay, I'm ready. Thank you.
About that, the relaxation. Do you want to make a point on that, Nishant?
Oh, you mean the tense relax? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that helped me a lot. I mean, I cannot tell you how much it helped me. And the practice I was doing lately is whatever the position the body takes, the muscles take upon a certain stimulus, I try to move those muscles the opposite direction. So if they
Okay.
are flexing, if the
Okay, got it. Interesting.
yeah, and try to keep it in that opposite and tense and then relax with a tension.
Huh. So Bernie, if it's not our job to change the machine, what are we doing here then?
Well, I think the task, at least in these steps, the very primitive steps that we are, is observe. Just take notes. Take notes of how the machine works. Beautiful. It's very beautiful. It's very executive. We can do many things while we think of other things. I amazed these days because I have come again to the ABD in the morning
Mm.
with the folks, and I see that the mechanicality is there as I can be there and read by memory and think of other things. I
Okay.
could well
Mhm.
that is a great feature
Yeah.
in a way because you can do multitasking is called today these days, no, but I don't think that is the best attitude for it, no. Anyway,
Yeah,
but
but if you're able to memorize it, then you can bring other parts of your being to play when you're doing a reading, right?
yes,
Very useful place to be.
yes, yes.
What's the name of what was the name of that book that we read before?
Presence, the
Before
presence
that?
before this one is the presence. Wait, I have it here.
In the
Invocation of the
invocation of
present.
but then what did we read another book before that?
Did we?
Invocation of
HPM.
presence.
What's that,
Invocation.
Nikhil?
HPM, right?
HPM.
Yes.
Invocation presence, HPM.
Yeah, what's the full title?
Human biological machine as a transformational
As a
apparatus.
transformational apparatus. And wasn't there a chapter about adoration of the machine?
Mm, yeah.
Remember that?
Mhm.
Yes.
Come on, our poor machine. Even though I happen to be raised, I was raised by a balloon. So, but what's interesting is that why did your machine learn to do the things that are so mechanical? Wasn't it trying its best to help you? Whatever
Yes.
it is. It was trying its best it was trying to interpret the world and say, here, I'm going to help you survive, you know? And it did its best. Now we can say, thank you for helping, but I don't need it quite that way anymore. And so we can adore the machine, but it's because we're interested in converting it to a transformational apparatus.
Yeah, but I think you can only do it if the will of the presence is, like little bit higher than the will of the machine.
Mhm.
Like
From time to time.
5149.
Yeah, mine is at 50.01 0.01%
Yeah,
versus 49.9.
it's
Which one's
99.
which, David?
I don't know, you tell me. So even if it isn't that strong, you always have to ask yourself from the point of view of a Voyager, well, what can I do? Right? I don't know how to do anything. I didn't learn any of this stuff. I don't even know what they're talking about. But I think I can find my presence, even for
Mhm.
1 second, and then it's gone.
So,
And
David,
yes, sir.
Okay.
so so I think that the will of presence has to be more than the will of the machine, only for brief moments of time or from time to time.
Yeah,
Yes,
but
and and
isn't that
then the
pretty
will,
cool? I mean,
yeah.
isn't that like a pretty cool thing that we actually do have that available to us, even for 1 minute? I think it's
But I
really
think 1 minute is too long. A few
what
seconds, maybe 1 second.
a few seconds, whatever we have, we have. We operate. Here's a strange word, but I'm going to use it anyway. We operate in part by grace. Okay? Great, you know this term, this is mostly Christian, but it isn't.
Yeah.
You know, the heavens reach down and say, there's somebody that's giving it a shot at least.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. And just to put that in perspective, as per Rajan and the 3
Yeah.
SRB teaching, 1 second of holding is dharna.
Hmm.
10 seconds of holding is dhyan, and 100 seconds is samadhi.
Okay. Okay, that's good
Wow.
to know. Yeah. Thank you.
And David, just 1 second of that presence just gives you tremendous joy, which is not like happiness in so-called phenomenal world, I would say.
Yeah.
It gives you that something, it's like so ecstatic, like, just even for a moment when you're present fully, it vanishes like right next moment, but it's so much like, what do you call in Hindi or Sanskrit, there is a word called Anand, which is beyond the sorrow and happiness.
Huh.
Yes, which transcend both of them. So like, that kind of moment you feel even just for a second, but it's there and you find, I reached home.
Right. You reach home, and then each time you do it, you remember, you recognize your home a little bit more, right?
Yes, every time it gives you a little more. Yep, that's correct.
And I just, that's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So what can we do? Something.
What,
Observe.
yeah, and what I realized what happened just yesterday or the day before, over the weekend, was something like, say, walking on grass, right? So
Ah.
it's something that has not happened in a long time for me. And suddenly, the moment I just took off my shoes and felt the grass, so just the moment of that presence, and it brought me memories of Madhopur out of the blue. And then I realized that it wasn't Madhopur, it was the presence or the state of presence that reminded me of the that brought me presence. But the entire scenario, what I realized is that whatever these moments are, like even just a few seconds, as to what she mentioned, like just a few seconds of just that connection of the body, or its senses suddenly will bring you home, which with that point of happiness or joy. So yeah.
I want to share one thing. I like, if that is okay, while reading the chapter today.
Yeah.
So I think I have even talked in some other session, like I think Wednesday once, that whenever I read or listen to any enlightened beings' words, I feel some sensations. So today I was reading this third chapter, Negative Manifestations, first time in my like entire life that I could go back up to. I never felt any sensation in my Vishuddhi chakra. I felt so many times in my heart chakra, my crown, sometimes in my belly. Never at the Vishuddhi, but today, like I could feel like, as moving on, like reading the chapter, and that moment was, I never felt that before, but I don't know how that gets connected. The chakra started like moving so fast, and I could feel it that, there was something that was happening, some kind of cleaning or something. Just I was reading each word.
Hmm.
And nothing or no other words ever touched my Vishuddhi chakra. It happened very first time today.
Okay, interesting.
Is Vishuddhi chakra the crown chakra?
No, it's a throat one.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the throat, I guess. Gosh. That
I thought Vishuddhi was the crown chakra, but I might be wrong.
not good with
Called
chakra.
Sahasrara, right? We call Sahasrara the crown one. This is Vishuddhi, the throat one.
I think I've always had that gulp. Anytime I used to do the breathing exercise, any breathing exercise, I noticed there was a gulp in my throat. And only when gulp vanishes, you suddenly start feeling the entire flow happening, So that is one thing which I realized. I didn't know that it is so stuck. But every time I did refining exercise and the 3SRD basically, that's where I would feel that. And until that throat gulp vanished, like there's the stuffage, right? Like that kind of a blockage. Until that blockage vanished, the pran wouldn't go around the body, in the breathing. So that's one thing which I realized that, yeah, you have to clean it every now and then.
Nice.
Yeah. So what did you feel? Do you mind repeating it?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so usually in the crown, whenever I feel, it would be like, some clockwise, sometimes anti-clockwise. I could not, like, if I pay more attention and like, I mean, concentrate there, I could feel like circular motion there in chakra crown. But today in Vishuddhi, it was a lot of stuff happening other than the, like, as Rajan told, like every chakra has two parts, one negative and one positive, not in sense of good or bad, but they have a movements, like, if they are wrong and not clean, then they will go the opposite direction of their regular one. Some chakras are good when they move the clockwise, some natural movement is the anti-clockwise, right? But with the Vishuddhi, I could just feel some sensation, some kind of cleaning was happening, like, something like, that some worms crawl on you, the ants and all, but it was not as small as ant. I could feel like, lot of cleaning kind of stuff that was happening around there. So I think Vishuddhi is interior and posterior, like on the back of your neck and in the front lobe also. So, but I could feel in my front part, in my throat side, front side of my body. That part was like something was shedding off there. I could feel. So with this chakra, this was not the movement, circular motion that I usually felt on my heart or the crown. It was different. But it's so powerful that you can feel it, like, even if you are not that much like attentive, you still could feel. And once you start paying attention, you feel like you give away to let it happen, whatever is happening. And you feel so calm and peaceful whenever you feel that kind of moment and you are reading or listening to any of those talks or lectures or notes. You feel so calm and like peaceful inside, like that, kind of meditation, like you are reading, but you feel like you are in meditation or meditative attitude. So that it's in itself, like, relax you from all that things that's happening around you, but all the chaos and all.
Hmm.
So how many of you guys read chapter 3 before coming in this meeting? You did, Alka? Yeah, because I myself was actually confused. And-
Everybody read it except you, Nikhil.
Uh-oh.
It says something about you. I don't know what.
No, I didn't read it, but I want to read it. Maybe I feel the same as Swati, and I would be a grace. Yes, I will read it.
I read it. Are we discussing it? Can we share what
Might
we?
as well.
Sure. Yeah. Please.
Yeah. That's
So it started with this idea that every second we are filled with negative manifestation. If we start noticing ourselves, then negative manifestations surround us from second to second. And we would realize that more often than not, everything that we say is in a way a negative manifestation. And then it gave an example of a woman in a mall, shopping, and you observe that woman and you see how asleep she is, you know, or how ugly she is in her dreams, like whatever dream life she is in. When she looks at her reality, she realizes how ugly she is, right? So I was just noticing, and I think past, it's just so the timing is so perfect of everything that's happening that it's not even funny because I had started this entire last week observing negative, probably because I had read the first page after our meeting, probably because of that. But I started observing the negative emotions uh, in different way. And now I'm looking at myself and I'm trying to look at myself and comparing myself to that woman in that grocery store, and I see myself and I try to be away from negative uh, manifestations. The whole idea of it, the facial mask to begin with, uh, the facial mask to begin with. And then the other things is it says so much about what's happening around us, inside us, uh,
Can you,
which
Alka, can you do like a brief recap of what that mall example, or maybe anyone else
there is
is?
this lady. He says that if you watch a lady in a mall, and you see that she's sleepwalking, you know, and she is completely engrossed in her sleep, right? If she gets a moment of realization and she looks at herself, she realizes how ugly that state is of sleep and how far it is from reality. And but even if that moment, and there's an interesting thing that even if that moment of realization occurs, she'll find something or the other to escape it and reject that realization and push it away, right? So just the idea of everything that we're doing is taking us away from the present moment. Everything that we are trying to do is taking us away from the present moment. Uh, you know, thoughts of past, future, insecurities,
Yeah.
uh, everything is taking us just away from the present moment. And
Interesting part was that EJ mentioned that the facial mask could reveal, like, that you can figure out what she's dreaming of, or
yeah,
like,
yeah.
the past thing. That was like very surprising to me, at least, like, how is it possible that you can just with the mask you can tell if you are conscious or what do you call like present.
Yeah. So we have been observing the facial mask because the facial mask has been discussed so many times. But this week was looking at negative manifestations in a different way. Like just they eat you only when you allow them to. Only when you allow them to. They take over only when you allow those thoughts, and those thoughts are the dark thoughts that take us away from presence, right? Thoughts, insecurities, whatever that is. Yeah.
Good. I don't know if it's pertinent for what we are talking, but the first time I noticed this guy E.J. Gold was in a book written by Caldo Naranjo about the Enneagram, and the Enneagram is, I would say quickly, dedicated to the, let's say, the masks of the personality that each of us carries through life as a way of living and defending whatever. And I think it has to do with where we are talking, because in each chapter of those 9 personalities or masks, it was opened by a drawing made by EJ from the face, from the mask of each of those personalities, and they were incredible. The way he took like a picture of that kind of personality, no? The tough one, this always smiling face and whatever, and you that we have many faces, not only one. We have many faces, and we have many personalities also. No? Anyway, that's what I wanted to share.
Yeah. That's why we start looking like people we hang out with. Like a lot of times when we no, that's a fact. That's a fact because
True.
when you start observing your facial expressions, you realize which expression belongs to who in your family, right? Or in your friends.
Yes.
Exactly.
And you especially start talking the way they talk, or you
Yes.
start to mimic some things that you like about something someone said, or the way
Yeah.
someone said.
So it's actually your journey to find your ideal self, you know. The things that we imitate, it's our desire to be that thing that we want to be, right?
Monkeys, blah, 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 monkeys. Yes.
I love monkeys.
We'll get you one for your birthday.
I
Uh-oh.
got a shirt yesterday with monkeys on it.
Okay.
Is like monkeys really a thing?
I used to stay in
Some
Madhapur.
people,
There used to be so many monkeys there in the
I'm
jungle. They
really into
would come.
pandas. I really love watching
Uh,
those, reels about those pandas in China Zoo or something like that. They're just pandas, they're just relaxing. It's like my, what do you call? Spirit animal.
I don't know. I have too many spirit animals. I love the birds. I love turtles, cats.
Welcome, Sachin. Good to see you here.
Thank you.
Hello, Sachin bhai. It's been a long time. It's been like months since I've
Yes,
seen you.
yes,
How are
yes.
you?
Fine.
So right now we are working on like practical work on self.
Okay,
Right now we are working on like chapter 3,
okay,
and
fine.
I'm such a
You have
lousy
the book?
person here that I didn't even read chapter that I'm supposed to read.
Whoops, he came up.
Okay.
You
I'm
have
starting
this
to
book,
feel
Sachin?
a little bit embarrassed about it, actually.
Did you have the book, Sachin?
Yes, I have the book and I have read it once
See,
before some.
he even read chapter 3, Nikhil.
I mean, yeah, okay. I was gonna make an excuse that technically I have read that chapter maybe years before, but that doesn't count.
Maybe you
So
can pick up one card from David's collection for
Right.
not reading the chapter.
at this point, I don't need David's collection. I can just create my own off the cuff.
You have plenty excuses for not doing. So somebody explain to Sachin what the kind of the format of the class nowadays.
Nikhil,
Yes, sir.
you are the boss. You explain.
Oh, Sachin, so what we are doing now is we have divided every chapter into two sections. The first section consists of you reading the chapter by yourself prior to the meeting, prior to coming to Monday's meeting. So, if you were a good participant of this week's meeting, you would have come prepared reading chapter 3 before this meeting. And then we discussed what we found interesting about this particular chapter. And then we declare how we are going to work on next week with this chapter. And we declare something specific that we are going to be targeting. Uh, and then we go about our week, we do the whole thing, and then we come back and we share our experience. That's the second section of
Second week.
the,
Okay.
the
Yeah.
practice.
So read the chapter, and we'll do chapter 3 again. Okay, everybody, we'll do
Yes,
chapter
please.
3. So read chapter 3 and bring any questions you might have, but then kind of make a feeling for yourself. What exercise would I do to exemplify what is being asked of in the chapter, what is being discussed? Can I make a practical exercise out of something? Because the book is called Practical Work on Self. So you actually have to get out of your brain for a week or two. Don't worry, you can go back, but and then so that's the first week is you read it, come up with the questions, but also like kind of say, oh, I think I'm going to do this exercise. Don't forget at the end of the chapter, there's something called the crocodile, right?
End of this chapter, David?
Yeah, the crocodile and the theatrical methodology. That's on. You'll see. So anyway, read it and see how do you want to exhibit, and actually then the second week, so not this coming week, but the following week, you'll practice it. You'll do what you think your practice is, and you'll go, okay, I did this, my goodness. Oh, okay. And then you report back to the group. So it's like seekers after the truth. The group investigates and brings back to the group their
Findings.
the findings of their exploration. It's kind of fun.
Yes. Yes.
Does that make any sense, Sachin?
Yes, sure, I got it.
Okay, good.
So maybe for those of you, do you guys know what you're going to be doing for the exercise part?
Can you tell me which chapter we're in? Are we still reading the 3rd chapter? So I'll read up till then.
We're going to read chapter 3 and then just decide what exercise is being exhibited in chapter 3 and how will I do it? Like, when you go gambling all the time, Bhavani, on the craps table, and you're sitting there, yeah, put it all on midnight. You might observe yourself. So whatever it is that you decide to do, but there's some very curious things in the chapter, real gems that are very useful for us. We're attempting to find out how the particular machine that we were given, how does it work?
Can you, on page number 44, there is second paragraph. It says, when you are able to duplicate the manifestation by sensation, try another exercise, magnify those feelings associated with this particular manifestation, so you are able to recognize it with vision, having studied it in mirror, then by sensing. Can someone explain one example, like how we can do the first phase and the second one and all together?
When you are able to duplicate the manifestations by sensation, is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. And then it says, by sensation, try another exercise. Magnify those feelings associated with this particular manifestation so you're able to recognize it with vision, having studied it in a mirror. Then by sensing, having studied it with the eyes closed while sensing its totality. Then finally by feeling as associated with the manifestation, by the feeling associated with the manifestation. So this was hinted at in, I think, chapter 22 of HBM. So when you're able to duplicate the manifestation, okay, the paragraphs before says, sensing will help us to recognize a manifestation when it occurs spontaneously. So mechanical are these manifestations of the motor syndrome that they easily slip past. Okay, we understand that. But now he's saying, wait a minute, duplicate the manifestation by sensation. In other words, you see that you are actually mechanical in this particular way. Now you remember it by what's called hearsay knowledge. You remembered you did it that way. You manifested in this mechanicality. Okay, now duplicate it. And he's giving you the elements of duplication, like first by sensation, magnify the feelings associated with that particular manifestation. Let's say, you're making a cake, or you're making coffee or something like that, and then you spill part of it on the floor, right? And then you get angry. You go, oh, an attempt to blame somebody else, of course. That's, if you can, which is really good, and just blame whoever else, not you. But then notice that you do that. Then
can I actually add to this? Because this is the exact thing that happened to me.
Good. Add to it, please. Yeah.
So what happened was that I've been in this process of renovation, and I've been like so engrossed where I've barely had time to be in nature,
Yeah.
When I had this feeling of the grass touching my feet, suddenly what happened was that exactly what they're saying is exact feeling that happened to me. Because what happened was that when I sensed the feet, the grass touching the feet, what happened was that it suddenly I realized that I'm not in the moment. That feeling of being in the moment took top priority. So the first thing I wanted to do is maximize the feeling of the grass touching the feet. Okay. So I first wanted to feel the grass, like press against the feet, like the feet pressing against the grass. And I wanted to take in as much as I could of that sensation. So basically, I magnified that feeling of my presence associated with the sensation of the grass. And what that did was that it took me down this moment where so there was this reading which I had listened from Bhagwan, that Buddha, he used to only look a feet away from his vision was only a foot away from his walking foot. So he never looked too further out.
Got it.
So what happens is that with every step you take, you are noticing only the animals. Like say there are bugs on the grass or there are bugs on the pathway. You want to make sure that you don't step on any while you're walking. And this is something I had practiced, when I was back in Madhupur. So what happened was that this grass feeling, it magnified to the point of that emotional connection where I was, caring for all the living beings around me, because with every step I wanted to make sure I didn't crush an ant or a bug, that I was walking. And what happened was that I suddenly realized I've not done that in a long time. And that entire feeling, it just made me realize I wanted to do that. And so basically, like if you check this para, so you are able to duplicate the manifestation by sensation. Sure. And another exercise, magnify those feelings associated with this particular manifestation. So what happened was that it reminded me of the ant crushing, and I wanted to make sure that I was in the moment every step I took. And so basically what happened was that when you keep studying and sensing that, and then you want to feel that. So the other thing that happened was I started looking at all the trees around me. And I wanted to get that feeling of the wind, washing against my face. So, and then I had closed my eyes for a little while and I got that feeling of being under the giant tree, in Madhupur. And that entire sensation of being with Bhagwan came to me. And then I realized that everything was just for that presence. So I don't know, like if that helps in any way, but basically, so to get the feeling with the sensations, then the association, and then I got that entire feeling of what that sensation felt like, which I haven't felt in like aeons, basically. So that association with that.
So just to make sure that I understand, so when we are attempting to duplicate the manifestation, this this is a voluntary act, right? We are trying to voluntarize the manifestation by duplicating it.
This is different than what Bhavani is talking about. I mean, the process is the same, but here EJ is suggesting finding a so-called negative emotion that you normally do, and duplicate it like if you were in the theater. Okay, like in other words, you see how someone moves their head, or they laugh, or they go ah, whatever it is. Can you duplicate your negative manifestation using this technique of granular self-observation? Then he goes, it should be possible for you to practice this manifestation before the mirror, even before a group, without feeling too much embarrassment, unless you identify with the human biological machine. So he's saying, so find whatever, whatever it might be, a grimace or a sentence that you say, and suddenly you noticed it, right? You just, oh my gosh, I did that again. Cool.
Cool. I think that with kids, like every time they get mad or something, I literally do the same thing back at them. Like once, my son was rolling over on the floor and he said, oh, I want this. And I actually started rolling with him in front of my in-laws and everyone.
Funny.
And I started doing that, and he started laughing, and he stopped right away, doing what he was doing, because he realized he's just 3 years old, but he realized what he was doing when he saw me do it. Like, so
But
basically,
he actually saw his negative manifestation at that moment. That
right.
mechanicality that was working in him,
Yeah.
no fault of his own, but he saw it. Okay. That's a beautiful thing, actually.
So here, I think behind this duplicating the negative manifestation thing, are we trying to achieve something like first is data collection about the how it manifests like in certain situation or the circumstances, and based on that, what I understood is if I manifest that, so next time when machine does it like um like it's sleeping, and when it spontaneously happen without noticing us, are we like trying to make some like reminding factor there by duplicating that one? I mean, kind of attention or something.
No,
No.
this is like a science experiment. You notice something and then you duplicate it. Don't use it to try to remember yourself.
Right. And Swati, what will happen, what I realized is that when you try to, what do you say, disintegrate or why happened and what it happened, you losing the purpose. So what I realized is that that data is not going to take you anywhere. You'll do the same mistake over and over and over again, like literally over and over again. So what I realized is that there's no point, what do you say, dissecting, that's the word. No point in dissecting, but just seeing,
No, so where I'm going is like, see, if you see the paragraph in screen, right? Third one where it says between seeing, sensing, and feeling, we should be able to produce a very effective alarm clock, which can alert of
Yes.
attention whenever this particular manifestation occurs spontaneously in the machine. So see, once machine does it spontaneously, here I am duplicating, okay? So is it like that we want to kind of like put up alarm there when it happens spontaneously,
Well,
that time we observe?
no, it's a bigger thing than that. The magic of this is that when you duplicate a mechanical manifestation in yourself, you will it, you act it out, you suddenly, you're speaking, you're shouting out to the machine, I am not you. It's the essential self at work here. Look, I can even duplicate what you do. It's one message and it rings throughout the machine. So find something that you do, how you answer the phone, how you are with your partner, how you get into the car, how you react to somebody in traffic. What do you do at the store? You go to the store and you're always upset at the cashier because you don't have enough money, and so you try to blame them. Whatever it is, find it and then cherish it. And you go, oh, interesting. Okay, good. I'm going to use that one. Now I'm going to duplicate it and practice it. It even says here, practice it in front of the mirror.
David, I would, when you're speaking, no, I found that remark very interesting. And I was thinking to myself, instead of reacting as a machine, will it, do it, do
Yeah.
it,
So
but
you're
out of reaction. No?
the
Do it.
same reacts the same thing
Yes,
willfully.
yes.
Okay. And now
When
you've like
it's,
made a chess move on the machine that it wasn't expecting at all.
you are the master in that moment.
You go, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
beautiful.
So read the chapter this week. We're going to read this chapter and digest it and make notes and say to yourself, okay, I see. Okay, here's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, and sorry, I've only read that one para, so I don't know anything with the back in front of it. So
No, it was a good analysis, Pavani. It was really good. Thank you.
So I think what I was trying to get of this chapter was we are trying to activate more of like source of attention or trying to get something from there, right?
You need to utilize the source of attention to do this kind of manifestation. You need that source. You need to be standing there. So while you're doing this exercise, you're actually building the muscle of presence and attention. See what I mean?
Okay. I think that is the central idea of all this chapter, right? That activating the source of attention instead of will of the machine.
That's the kind of the whole of the work at this level of our
I know, I was like,
existence.
this chapter, I mean, it could be so diverse, So, yeah.
And EJ has given us different ways to do it in different circumstances, so we can wind up weaving these through our lives. It's quite beautiful.
Awesome. Then let's read this chapter
All right.
and come next week.
I'll come if I can remember.
Well, you always do, David.
I'll try
You're
to.
the first one.
Is that when is it again? Monday?
Tuesday.
Oh, that's right. That's right. All
Well,
right.
see you guys next Monday. Thank
So
you so
good to
much.
see you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.